Ready? Play.
And if you're wondering what this little thing is, well, let me tell you now, whether it be tea, coffee, or merely water, it tastes so much better from a talking tennis mug. And you know what? They can be yours if you wish to purchase one from our website. We've also got bags and stickers and hoodies and notebooks. Mira Andreeva. T-shirts as well, of course, coming in both black and white. And we've got a classic jumper for you as well, and many, many other things for you to purchase for excellent prices so you can look like some of the coolest people on the tour. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
19 what?
19th of April, Stuttgart, quarterfinal day, Poland versus Great Britain.
May the best
But
person
I
win.
wonder
I'm
why
gonna play with the winner.
I wonder why the tennis players don't shake their hands before the match.
Only at the end, yeah. But will we be shaking hands in a few minutes? I don't know. So, should we just have a little practice?
Yeah.
Just a little practice? Oh, bloody hell. Oh, wow. Zelislav, you have to, it has to hit the table, okay? Huh? He's playing like the Olympics now.
Okay, let's play.
Let's play.
So two sets, every set is 2-6.
Okay.
One service, so like in tennis.
And you have to win by 2 points?
Yeah.
Yes, and
So, yeah.
if it is 6-6, it's tiebreak.
Okay.
But now we start.
Okay.
It's just like for the entertainment.
Now we start.
So you start.
Ah, scheiße. So 1-1. Ah, scheiße. 2-1 to you. 2-1. There you go down.
Lucky guy.
2-2.
I'm in the double pot, really.
2-2.
So double fault.
Ah, scheiße. This is the worst match since Lehecka against Kudametova. 3-3.
It's the game of mistakes.
3-3. 3-4. 3-5. 5-3.
Guys, really?
5-3.
Now it's very poor level.
6-3, my set.
Emma 6-3?
6-3 Emma, yeah. 1-0.
That's the table, no?
No.
Oh, the red two.
1-1. Oh, that's it.
That's
Maria Cicak comes.
That was very lucky. Yeah. 1-2. 1-2. Ah, shit. 1-3. 3-1.
Nein.
1-4.
Ich weiß nicht.
Ready for the break.
you were not ready.
It's okay. 1-4.
Yeah?
Okay. You ready, Zelislav?
Sorry, wir müssen hier nur ganz schnell
Ja,
aufräumen.
kein
Das
Problem.
ist wichtig für den Stand.
Okay.
1-5.
Domination.
Nee?
Domination. Domination.
5-2. 2-5. Ah, you're set.
Nee, das glaube ich auch nicht.
So 1-4.
So going for the third.
Do we have a third set now?
Yeah.
Going for the third. Come on.
Ay, ay, ay. 1-1. 1-1. 2-1. 2-1 Zelislav.
Wow.
2-2. Ay, ay, ay. I can't get the serve right. 3-2. Sorry, 3-3. 4-3.
Koncentracja żelek.
3-4. Ah, 4-4. It's close. 5-4. 4-5. Mine. 6-4.
Good.
Yeah.
But let's play one longer rally for the
Yeah, we
media.
could do one for the.
My name is Clara Towson and I'm a friend of the show.
I am Francisca George and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Hey guys, yes, this is a DK special. I don't think that's why table tennis was played on the screen. Although, of course, so it's tough to call it table tennis. I don't. I mean, I remember a long while ago, since I think it's from last Stuttgart, a match between Želek and John Silk. Here today, I have some issues with my connection. So far, it is a recurring thing, but well, we'll see about that. I wonder if there's anything I can do realistically. We'll see. If it continues being an issue, maybe I will restart my phone, but then I will also have to go off the stream for a while. I don't know. Let's see how it is, because earlier today I actually had issues with my connection. It was kind of like disappearing, and I had to restart it a few times. But then I thought it was okay since then. Anyway, for now, let's just keep watching. 15:30 already in the first game. I will also put some lights on, as it's already pretty dark outside. Anyway, not the most important thing. We have not mentioned the Iga and Carlos tennis show. I didn't really. I don't know if there will be a moment. Well, they're both in the US Open quarterfinals, so that's good. That's good for the show. I do have to say that the episodes when they win something, they do much better than when they lose. We have a relatively consistent, regular audience with Vanch, but the episodes when they win, definitely massive. I mean, you can tell us your bet, but to be fair, I am just not a betting expert, tipster, or whatever. So I don't think I will be able to give you much in terms of that. In the meantime, Carlos Alcaraz at the net here, securing a breakpoint in the very first game. There is, that Roland Garros match that Lehecka played with Sinner, and we remember how brutal that was. How he was basically just so happy that he won a game, which, it's funny, but at the same time, if you're Lehecka, you're aspiring to do more, right? I don't think this is possible against Carlos, just the way their games match up. I don't think it will happen. Needless to say, though, it would be good for Lehecka not to get broken right away. Second serve from Alcaraz, second serve return from Alcaraz is pretty deep. Backhand exchange, Carlos throwing in the slice, and Lehecka will get to the net. He takes advantage of that slice being pretty short. The transition game of the Czech obviously is one of his main strengths. It really helped him in that Manarino round 4 matchup. Lehecka and Alcaraz. Okay, so you're basically banking on Lehecka winning a set and then also covering the handicap. Yeah, I mean, doesn't seem unrealistic. Carlos hasn't dropped a set so far, but he's kind of known for leaking them. Lehecka is maybe good enough to take a set, and then if he does, then your bet is going to be pretty likely. Yeah, since I mean, with a 3-1 set score, that would be 7.5 seems very okay. And yeah, I think even if Jiri takes a set, Carlos probably still wins the match. So maybe more so it's like, yeah, whether Jiri will win a set or not. It's kind of the most important thing here. Anyway, second double fault of the game, and another breakpoint coming Alcaraz's way. I was just going to say that Carlos has not dropped a set so far, which is unusual. Today would be a good opportunity, I suppose, to drop one. Then again, I just don't know if he's faced the kind of opposition, right, to where he usually would drop a set. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. There's a really deep return from Alcaraz, and he sees that he has so much space after Lehecka just gives him the ball back on the next shot, and he goes for a drop shot instantly. So we have that early break. I will already put on some lights, but I'm back in 3 seconds, literally, so you're not going to miss me long. Okay. Yeah, Carlos has obviously played Opelka in the opening round. That was a match where I think we were expecting at least one dropped set, maybe even more, maybe a Fonini round 1 Wimbledon-ish match, who knows. And then he played Rinderknecht in the 4th round. I mean, their 3-set win was pretty likely. Darderi as well, right? So Mattia Bellucci too, yeah. So, I mean, it's been a bit of a cakewalk outside of the opening round, so maybe it's just a case of that, but we know that Carlos can also conjure opponents out of thin air for himself sometimes. Lehecka would not have to be like that. I mean, 2-1 in the head-to-head for Carlos, but he lost to him this year, literally, in Doha, and also Queen's Club. It went free. It kind of shouldn't have. Lehecka couldn't do anything on return for the entire match, but it still went free. And I think the only easy win that Carlos has had against the Czech was, of course, Queen's Club as well in 2023. Amazon delivery has arrived. I don't know what we're talking about. Do I have something that resembles a package here? Probably not. I don't know. Anyway. Obviously, it's a great start for Alcaraz here. Very sensible with his returning in the first game, which is a good sign for him too. That's kind of why sometimes he goes 4 instead of 3, right? And this is the first quarterfinal of the US Open in men's singles. We're going to have Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz competing later tonight as well. And of course, tomorrow we will have Felix Auger-Aliassime taking on Alex de Minaur, and Yannick Sinner coming up against Lorenzo Musetti. It still seems like an Alcaraz-Sinner final, no? I mean, 3rd one in a row at a slam, that would be something special. And yeah, I mean, I think we'll get it, especially from Yannick's side. There's just nobody to lose to right now. But that's a pretty ridiculous on-the-run, inside-in forehand winner from Carlos. He was like falling backwards, but still generates so much pace, angle, precision. I mean, everything worked, even though the position was somewhat unconventional. He knows that it was a good shot. He's like whistling almost. Puffing air more like, but yeah, definitely a reaction that shows you, well, I know what I just did was pretty cool, And now Lehecka, love to down, could really use a good game to clean up his game. I mean, to just basically settle the nerves. It's a strong criterion, and I don't think it will happen. It's just impossible. But yeah, I mean, Carlos and Yannick, what happened to Iji at Roland Garros, it just can't happen here. But if somebody believes that it can, then this is the kind of start. Yeah, bit of a backhand cross-court exchange. Carlos decides to go down the line first. They didn't have the right setup there. I don't know if I ever ordered something from Amazon. Does Amazon even order to Poland? I don't know. Maybe it does. I've ordered something from like Amazon or eBay, I think, but I'm not sure which one. Or rather, does Amazon send to Poland rather than order? Anyway, not too important at the moment. Lehecka restoring some balance in his second service game. Pushes Carlos wide, gets the forced error. Great serve down the tee. Will go to the net, plays a half volley that will be dumped into the net against someone, I guess, as quick and as good at anticipating as Carlos. Probably that net approach will have to be better. Yeah, Carlos was just so quick on that backhand, and then Lehecka is playing a very uncomfortable half volley of the service line. If he's playing the exact same shot 2 meters in front, you know, he's making it. But here it just didn't have enough traction to get over the net. Second serve at 30-all. And a double fault, I think, is his third one already of the match. And the previous one he made was at deuce, and then he got broken. So yeah, tough times for our friend from Twitch who was commenting about his bet too. Since well, if Lehecka loses the opening set like 1-6 or 2-6, then obviously the handicap will be a little tougher to make. But he does save the breakpoint here. It wasn't an easy one. He was already scrambling for the ball. Carlos tried going for this very precise inside-in forehand winner, but missed that by a mile. But Lehecka was definitely on the back foot there already. This first serve isn't really gonna do that much. I mean, it's just not in the spot where it could, right? It's just a point starter, which definitely Lehecka has to be hoping for more. Plays a nice combination in the baseline rally, though. Follows it up to the net. Doesn't give Alcaraz much chance for the forehand pass. And will have a game point now. Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's like a little bit more. It will even help, so that's another part of the deal, right? Anyway, yes, Nurlan, The producer, if you can hear me, let's do a small break. I'll restart my phone and then we'll see. Maybe it helps. Don't know if you heard me, but that's what I'm gonna do. Right now?
listening.
Oh, no.
How can I help?
Okay, yeah, so I restarted my connection. We'll see if that actually helps. In terms of growing the beard back, Ghosty, I mean, I thankfully don't have to worry about that, right? It will just grow back on its own. But yeah, basically, of course, on Saturday I'm going to a challenger, so couldn't be in my very nomadic mode anymore. I still might also cut my hair. I don't know. I'm torn on that. Might not do it. I don't know. Anyway. Nurlan, you probably heard me saying that Iga and Anisimova is the second match tomorrow, so not before 7 p.m. after Felix and Deminor, and then in the night session it will be Sinner, Musetti, and whatever the other matches. Sabalenka, Vondrousova. Anyway, Alcaraz holds for 3-1. I don't think I even saw the Lehecka hold to the end, so good for him, obviously, to have gotten that. And yeah, let's go. Carlos won 55 of his last 56 service games, says the producer. Well, Alexander Bublik, up until yesterday, was unbroken for the tournament. Yes. And then we all know what happened. Actually, I don't fully know what happened because, well, I've been going to bed really early. Like night sessions at the US Open, I've missed pretty much all of them. I just wake up, do my training, watch challengers, work, and then the US Open happens. But I only watch the day session, really. It cuts me off like midnight max. So basically, the way I was trying to do this yesterday was that I went to bed and I was hoping to wake up at like 3 a.m.-ish to see Sinner and Bublik, because I thought that might be a good match. I mean, you never know. Bublik is so unconventional, doesn't play Sinner in the most typical way, so could be more interesting than Sinner playing somebody that, you know, he knows that he can beat, like, I don't know, ADM, Rublev, and guys like that. And yeah, I actually, the plan worked out almost perfectly. I woke up like 2:40 a.m., which is about 1 hour and 40 minutes after the match began. And, you know, my laptop was still on. I log on to see the scores and put up the stream. And then I see that the match is already over. So I just went to bed again. But yeah, actually the plan was good. You know, if it was a cracker, I would have woken up at like one set all or something like that. Maybe it's also because of that much that I'm just like, at this point, to be fair, I don't care about this US Open at all. Men's singles, women's singles. Like, I'm gonna follow it a little bit, sure. I kind of need to keep up with it, but I'm much more invested in, first of all, the 6 challengers we have this week. Also, the men's doubles event I've been watching so much of, probably more than at any other slam in recent memory. I'm also planning to do that today after this match is over for sure. Some really good matches in there. So I don't know. Maybe because of that, I was like, Sinner Bublik was such a disappointment at this stage. Who cares? I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm supposed to. I mean, that's kind of what we're thinking, right? That Sinner Alcaraz is still a very likely final. And still, whatever we said before the event, like Carlos is the more likely to lose before the final because he has Fritz or Djokovic in the semis. So far in the Lehecka quarter, he's doing okay. Up a break. Obviously, it's a long day ahead of him and Jiri. It's only half of the opening set, but he's doing fine thus far. Lehecka at least is on the board, and right now got his best game of the match. Get back to me on OnlyFans. Okay, fair enough. You can also message Alexander Miller in there. I don't know if you can actually message him, to be fair, but he has an account and he has a sponsorship. That's what I know. Thoughts on Pegula making semis? I didn't watch her much, so I don't really, I don't really have much to say. Obviously, the form that she was coming into the U.S. Open with this year was much worse than last year. But under the radar, she reached the semis. And by now, I mean, you have to treat it as a big opportunity, right? I mean, not only has she already saved so many points, which I feel like if she lost all of them, she could have been in some ranking trouble. Let me see actually what that situation is like. So she's number 6 live right now. If she repeats the final run, she would be number 4. And that would be where she was before the start of the US Open. But let's imagine that she lost all these points. Yeah, I mean, she'd still be top 10, but maybe barely, or just number 10. So I guess, she's already saved herself quite a few points here. Probably going to help for the race too. Yeah, she's number 5 in the race. So easily maybe is a stretch. There's like 9 players who can make the WTA finals. Paulini would have to get 700 points above her to knock her down. Yeah, I mean, she's probably making the WTA finals based on the semi-final run in New York. So it's massive for her. Opportunity, yeah, it's there. But Sabalenka last year, it felt like a match where Jessie is like barely hanging on. It really didn't feel like an encounter where it's close from start to finish, even if the scoreline is looks okay. And Świątek, I mean, she beat last year at the US Open. Just right now, but Hamburg as well, right? I mean, right now I'd probably still back Iga if they play, but it's clear that she is a tough matchup for that Jessie is a tough matchup for her. So you can't deny that there is an opportunity here for Pegula to do something big. If Vondrousova beats Sabalenka, that's the matchup that in 2023 at Wimbledon was so painful for Jessie. And then Sabalenka in the semis, I mean, seemingly an opponent she can't really touch for the most part. But we've seen some pretty weird performances from Arena later in slams this year. So it also feels a bit more open maybe than last year's final when Arena didn't really have any like baggage coming into it. And now I feel like she has after the previous 3 slams, and probably truly believing that, she should have a slam this season and that she still doesn't. And of course, it's the last chance. Yeah, who knows? Beautiful backhand cross court from Alcaraz here for the winner, 30-15. I think we also saw a stat a second ago that he was perfect on his first serve points. This actually might be a bit more tricky for him to win, as the first serve did no damage whatsoever. Again, a lot of these backhand cross-court patterns. Lehecka decided to switch line, but it clipped the net, and it was still a pretty long, like deep net court, which helped Alcaraz set up for a forehand winner. He looks really sharp so far. I mean, it's Carlos Alcaraz we're talking about. Like I imagine over let's say a 2-hour match, he will still have some ups and downs. But yeah, I mean, thus far, if you can just take this to the opening set 6-4, this is some strong form we're talking about, and a strong level of focus for sure. Seems like the resetting the connection helped. I hope, at least. I hope I'm not premature with this. Jake is informed this stream, that's for sure. Yeah, where is Swarna? So far, the chatters today definitely delivering with Jake, Ghosty, and Nurla, the golden trio. Zangar Nurlanuli, by the way, defeated Alan Ważny today in US Open boys singles. I don't think Ozan is today on the stream, at least, but he did comment on something on my Twitter, so I know that he will be delighted about that win for our Nurlan lookalike, doppelganger, however you want to call it. Oh wow, Carlos will have to applaud that indeed. He was not expecting that drop shot get from Lehecka to go in. Well, I mean, it was a... Yeah. Actually, not a drop shot get, sorry. Yeah, I mean, it was a stop volley from him. I got kind of confused there at the end of the rally. Anyway, yeah, I mean, he was not expecting that Jiri had enough angle to put this in. But he did, turns out, and he wins the point with that drop shot volley combination. I was saying something about the sensible returning from Carlos. This one may be a little more of the wild type, but he is up a break still. Hasn't really had many issues holding on to it either. So I guess a little more of a frivolous approach in these games might be okay. Lehecka has started has definitely found his serving rhythm though. Like that's something that could be potentially dangerous to Alcaraz later on. It's just that right now, as long as he's up a break, obviously, maybe it won't matter. But yeah, hitting his spots much better right now. This is also a pretty good one, despite being middle of the box. Yeah, and a massive forehand to clean it up. That was a great game from Lehecka for sure, from loft 15 to come up with that volley and then, yeah, just ride along with it. It's good. 3-4. He's there. He's keeping it close. Now let's see if in the 2 upcoming Alcaraz service games he can produce anything or not. Yeah, the doubles for the day has not started either in women's or men's doubles. Basically, the US Open schedule today is like boys singles, girls singles, boys doubles. I don't know if girls doubles as well first. Then they will switch to doubles on the outside courts, and of course, Arthur Ashe Stadium is just 4 singles quarterfinals. I don't know if there are any other big stories around the grounds. Ivanov and Vasilev winning again, the 2 Bulgarians who are one of the stories of Wimbledon juniors. Kumstadt in the... Is it the third round now or is it the quarters? I'm actually not sure. I think it's the third round now, no? Yeah, it's only the third round that they just reached. Schoenhaus is in there too. Zangar Nurlanuli will play Oskari Poldanius. Vasilev Kumstad, that's one of the best matches there. Interested to see what Luis Miguel will show. That was a Brazilian who a year ago, I think, debuted in a challenger when he was 15. And he defeated Niels McDonald here. So the recent Roland Garros champion. Yeah, Roland Garros champion. So quite a big win for him. And he's going to play Jack Kennedy. But anyway, back to Carlos Alcaraz. Let's see if this is also going to be a comfortable hold like the previous ones. She starts from low 15. thunderstorm outside my window. I don't know if you actually heard. I mean, I haven't heard the thunder yet, but the lightning part, I just did witness. Big first serve from Carlos, should clean up the smash. Yep. Now I'm hearing the thunder. Wasn't overly loud, so I don't think you did. It's probably quite far away from me right now. There's some like there's some weird way you can check how, or I mean, it's kind of a myth, right? But you can, I believe there's like a formula that you can check how far away a thunderstorm is from you, like depending on how many seconds are between the lightning and the thunder, which makes sense in a way, right? I mean, it's just yeah, I mean, depending on how quickly the sound gets to you after the visual sensation. So I suppose it's not really that much of a myth, although I don't know if the formula that I heard was that accurate. Anyway, 15-30 here. Carlos coming up with a big serve to get to 30 all. This could be one of the key games of the set. Either way, really. Just under 200. I don't know if it's, I don't know why they're showing it to us, that it's just under 200. Not a particularly impressive, I guess, record on the on the men's set with sport. I don't know if you guys saw that, by the way, but there was a very interesting graphic that the US Open put out about the fastest serves of the tournament. And I don't even remember who was first, but it was some, like, the usual suspect, like Pecci Pericard or something like that. And, top 5, there was like Shelton, there was, I don't know, just basically the usual suspects, other than the number 2 serve on that graphic. And the number 2 serve was Jaume Munar. And he was like 15 kilometers an hour ahead of number 3 and just 4 behind GMP or something like that. And I just feel like it has to be an error, All credit to Jaume for what he's done to his hardcourt game over the past, 9 months or whatever. But yeah, I just don't feel like that's like logically possible. Well, that's I mean, it's not a missed chance, this game, because even though Lehecka led, love 15-30, Carlos just came up with enough big serves to completely not give him any shot here. So yeah, it's a bit of serve botting here, this game from Alcaraz. He didn't need to win a rally. In fact, the 2 points that went to a rally, he lost. But oh no, actually, I guess there was that smash put away, but I mean, that was also a very easy point. He just won because of his serve. So 3-5 down, Lehecka. Playing much better since the slow start, but for now unable to catch up. Let's see if he can extend the set any further now. Did you know that when you are in space, you cannot actually see the moon or any other planet? It is dark everywhere. Is that actually true? I mean, there's just so many views of the Earth in movies, right? I just wonder. I mean, I know they're just movies and stuff, but how do astronauts? I mean, right now I suppose they have some good tools for that, but like the early astronauts, let's say Yuri Gagarin, how did he know that he was going to be back, like re-entering the atmosphere of the Earth? I suppose it's not done visually because that would be very potentially like harmful, right? If it was just relying on a human decision. But I think to an extent it won't be relying on the visuals. But I don't know. I mean, interesting if you say so, Nurlan. But from what I know, it doesn't seem true. But I don't know. Ghosty is also saying that it's not true. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to read a bit more about that. Probably like basically everybody as a kid, I was quite interested in, maybe not becoming an astronaut, although probably that also crossed my mind. But yeah, just the history of space exploration. But it was a short period for me. Probably just like, paleontology and dinosaurs as well. The dark side of the moon. Yeah. I think the dark side of the moon is kind of more about, what we see from here, or rather what we don't see. You liked Mars? I mean, the candy bar, right? Yeah, Mars is okay. Yeah, you were going to make exactly that joke. Probably doesn't like Pink Floyd. No, I don't think Pink Floyd are overrated. There was a phase in my life when I was a progressive rock fan. Pink Floyd are maybe not the most typical representative of the genre, but still definitely count. I am a little. I think that jumper is a The Who jumper, but either way, I didn't buy it. So, yeah, I mean that's not really obviously the same genre. With Pink Floyd, I mean, there's just there's a degree to which people like try to assign intelligence to all their work and kind of think that every single plonk of the guitar from Dave Gilmour is just sent from heaven or whatever, and that gets kind of frustrating. I think The Wall is nowhere near the best of their albums basically, and I think that's really overrated. However, I would kill somebody for like Animals, for example, or I actually also love the final cut. I'm very much a Roger Waters Pink Floyd fan. So I'm fine with the final cut being like almost a solo effort from him by that point, because that's exactly the Pink Floyd I like. It's like the year after he released a solo album, The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, and it's like very similar, but that's the kind of Pink Floyd I like, right? But yeah, Animals, I still, I don't know if I come back to it on a regular basis, but that would be like one of my favorite albums of all time, I think. I have a lot of memories with it as well. When I remember like exactly when I first listened to it, and the situation, or let's say around that. So Dark Side, unfortunately, is like more, yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, but I don't have the same emotional connection with it. It's probably my number 2 still in their discography. Anyway, usually Lehecka trying to serve to stay in the set. 4-5 goes back and down the line, wrong footing Carlos Alcaraz, and gets that first point. It's the second time in a row that he's done that. And I know first point, it doesn't sound amazing, but it does really increase your chances of winning the game by a surprising bit. And he's at the net now. What can Carlos cook up? Plays a very nice short angle, but he's still on the stretch here. What a rally. And he will eventually make just come up with a pass that Lehecka cannot reach. There was a bit of a cat and mouse exchange. I'd say Alcaraz was for the most part better in it, especially since that sharper, very like slow backhand pass he played. But there was a shot where he was like barely stretching to get it, and I thought that maybe this is where Jiri can turn it around, but didn't manage to do it in the end. There's a finger wag from Carlos. Some heavy rain outside my window now. I'm glad I'm home. As actually a bit of rain caught me earlier when I was coming back from a walk. Anyway, not the most important thing right now. 15-all, 3 points away from the set. Carlos Alcaraz. Jiri trying to take that forehand return early, but it's gonna be middle of the net. Has shown some good attitude for sure since that slow start, and recovering from it, not going down the double break, fighting back. But again, the question is whether that early break won't just cost him the set, because presently it seems like it still might. 30-15, 2 serves coming up. Good kicker as well at Lehecka's backhand. And now Alcaraz is going to have 2 set points for a relatively quick opening set win. Not the most comfortable one on the planet if he does get it done here, but early break, good serving from there. Not much more of a story, But let's see. Will have to be a second serve again. Throws in the forehand drop shot. Lehecka should catch it, and he plays the get well enough for Alcaraz not to be able to. I was pretty good. I mean, maybe not the best drop shot of all time, but certainly good clarity of mind from the Czech there, even though he was fully on the run. Alcaraz kind of didn't know if to stay back or go forward because he saw the drop shot wasn't that good and that Lehecka might actually have a play on it and, a play on it where he can create something, and he did. Anyway, set point number 2, serve down the middle, and we have a rally now. Cross-court forehand, switches down the line. It's super deep from Alcaraz. Tries to go for the inside in, but it's in the net. It's probably the first deuce on his serve, or might be wrong, but the set continues nonetheless. We see Lehecka mouthing a come on before this one. The first serve this time is much better placed, and it will set up the third set point for Alcaraz. I think a few years ago when Carlos was trying to improve his serve, we've kind of all said that, if that guy starts having just finds an amazing serve, like how do you beat him? Then Yannick Sinner came up, and I guess they're both now just unbeatable. But yeah, today so far the serving has been good. Lehecka with a good reaction on the next one will go for a Hail Mary desperate lob. It will not find the court. So 6-4 Carlos Alcaraz after 41 minutes of play. Relatively comfortable, but let's also remember that this was all because of that slow start from Lehecka, all because of that early break. And it's not like the Czech doesn't have something to look forward to here, because he was getting better as the set went on. Even the last game, right? He gets a break chance finally. No, break chance. I mean, he gets to deuce finally. So yeah, he's got something to look forward to, even if the set went to Alcaraz. Definitely played his best tennis of the set later down the line. Stones or Beatles? I would say I've always been a much bigger fan of the Beatles than the Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones, I mean, I know they've had a certain degree of like musical evolution over the years, but I still struggle to get through a Stones album. There are certain, like, there's definitely a few songs that I like, but yeah, just like getting through an entire album, I think it's a bit too hard rocky for me. They have a massive catalog. I obviously have not listened to all of that, but it's not like anything post the 70s is worth anything. And the Beatles, I mean, I think it's also just a very diverse catalog, even if it was a short run that they had. And you can definitely find both just, amazing pop songs early on, but then pretty much, invention that we are still using in music to this day, right? A lot of genres were basically started by them, and I just think the music holds up even with the historical significance just being part of it. So yeah, I mean, for me it was always very clear. Oh my god, I mean, 3 albums you're taking with you. I'd probably take something that is this is a tough question. I know I just said that Animals is one of my favorites of all time, but it would probably be something more I don't know. I don't feel like it can be an album like that. I think I would probably take some albums that I like know every lyric from, and I can just like play them, on repeat and just sing them forever. I love singing just like for myself. So yeah, it would probably be more like a collection of songs rather than something particularly intelligent. I don't know if I have, off the top of my head, if I have many examples in mind. Let's say I have 2 or 3, but I probably would. I'm not going to talk about them. Oh my god, there's more very brutal questions there. I don't think that Pegula is unquestionably the main favorite, Nurlan. That's just an unhinged take. Let's be honest. I've barely watched her run, to be fair, but you cannot say that Jessica Pegula is unquestionably the main favorite when Arina Sabalenka and Iga Świątek are still in the event. Ghosty, we have a very polarized situation in Poland right now, no pun intended. So it's basically, if you are a voter of his party, of Civic Platform, or however you want to call it, the one that is currently governing, then you probably like him. If you are from the other party, you think that he's the worst person in the world. Myself, I feel like I am much more realistic about this and less biased than most people are. So even though I do vote for the party typically that he is part of, I never really enjoy them. I think there's just a number of situations that he has presented himself as a bit of a douche, both internationally and domestically. And he's definitely not one of the politicians that convinced me to vote for said party. In fact, I would say that there's hardly any politician that convinces me to vote. It's mostly just a choice of lesser evil recently. But yeah, right now, this is a question that I can only answer in this way. Poland is becoming more and more like the States. I mean, we just have 2 massive parties, and you're either with us or against them, and or against us. And yeah, I mean, how you perceive Sikorski is, I think, for 90% of the people here, just purely based on that. Anyway, Lehecka is actually maybe having another slow start. 15:30, he has this volley, and he's kind of too far from the net. It is a positioning issue, yes, but at the same time, maybe he could have done more with that anyway. And now 15:40, he clips the net with his shot, which bounces very short, but Alcaraz is quick. Alcaraz is on it, gets to the net. Lehecka can't pass him, and you've got a set and a break kind of out of nowhere, even though Lehecka was doing some very good work later in set 1. So again, we run into the same question. Can he start threatening the Alcaraz serve? Have I ever interviewed Jiri? Sorta. I did interview him, with a couple of people, I think, but in Poznan 2021, that was like one of his first big challenger achievements. In fact, I think the week before he reached the Tampere, he won Tampere, I think, over Kicker. And then in Poznan, he lost to Bernabe Zapata Miralles in the final. I also watched them live later in Szczecin for sure that year. And I think by 2022, he was already gone off the challenger circuit for the most part. Yeah, because he reached that Rotterdam semi, which took him into the top 100. So yeah, I think only in Poznan in 2021. And I think there were only 2 events when I watched him live. You could see he was going places like very, confidently, you could say that. Even though he was like a slightly unexpected breakthrough maybe that particular summer. But once he did play that, insane 2-week swing in Tampere and Poznan, I think he was... it was pretty obvious that it won't take long. Alcaraz serving after a change of wind. Yeah, Beatles haven't evolved so much over the years. That's true, because they haven't been active since 1970. And well, one of them is dead since 1980. One of them is actually maybe also dead since 1966. There's obviously a famous theory that Paul McCartney is actually dead, and that somebody as a doppelganger, I don't remember the names, maybe Billy Shears, like in Sgt. Pepper's. Yeah, I think Billy Shears is a doppelganger. Anyway, yeah, I mean, in terms of their run, though, the basically 9 years of releasing music, they did evolve more than Rolling Stones have over the course of their 60 years of releasing music. Even more than 60. Jesus Christ. How are these guys still alive, you know? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and they're still fine. I don't know. Keith Richards looks like a mummy, and yet he's still playing. He's probably still drinking. He's probably still doing everything a human shouldn't be. Anyway, these guys, Alcaraz, Lehecka, they have a better fitness regime. That's for sure. Have I seen John Lennon and Ozzy Osbourne's new material? Is there really new material from? I mean, I know there was a song a year ago or something that won Grammy from the Beatles, which was like AI, and I don't want to listen to that. I don't care. But yeah, I mean, if there's any new material, then I don't think I'm interested really. When Ozzy died, I listened to some Black Sabbath the day after. Definitely a band that I had not listened to in like 10 years, but why not pay tribute? I don't think he was a particularly, well, influential musician in the classical sense, but as a frontman, obviously a great example of the lifestyle that I was just describing. 40-15 Alcaraz, again, it was a game where he loses the first point, but again, it seems like he will be probably getting out this. Lets that return from Lehecka go and is right to do it. 6-4 to love. Yeah, Ghosty, I know who his wife is. And Jay also mentioned that, but I don't know her at all. Like, I haven't listened to any of her like public appearances or anything like that, but I know who his wife is. Yeah. There is a Wong pan. I don't know if you guys saw that, because Coleman Wong was just announced for a UTS event, which I think Ghosty enjoys, and his name was his like nickname was the Chosen Wong. I think it's a pretty bad pun. I mean, Wong and Wan is just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel like it, but some of these UTS nicknames have been amazing, and some of them are just, well, they're so that everybody has a nickname, but they don't actually make that much sense. Oh, Lemmy died not that long ago too, right? I probably didn't give him the same tribute as I did to Ozzy. Anyway, you Wongly fought that Lehecka, and that's a bit better, right? But Chosen Wong, you really like that? I don't know. I just don't feel like it. Anyway, love to down. Will it be a repeat of that first set when Lehecka just suddenly turns it on after the slow start and is pretty much playing on the same level as Alcaraz, but doesn't have a chance to break him back? I don't know. We'll see. But this is pretty much the worst that could have happened, I think, for Jiri, right? Yeah, I remember you were sometimes arguing for UTS. I mean, I don't think I was ever saying that I'm against it, but I'm just not interested in it. If somebody is, fair enough. What is Coleman Wong's next tournament? I mean, it's pretty fair to assume that he will play the Asian swing, right? I don't know if he can hope for a wild card in Chengdu or something like that, because, well, I have no idea how the politics works there. Like, no, I mean, he was obviously getting Hong Kong wildcards, but I don't really remember him getting maybe Chengdu or something like that last year, no? I mean, obviously, Hong Kong and China is a complicated situation, and it's been like that for a while. He did get a Shanghai wildcard, I think, though. So maybe he can get one in Chengdu or Hangzhou. He could also be playing Davis Cup, to be fair, before then. I don't know who Chinese Taipei is playing. I just know Poland is coming up against Great Britain. Actually, just like 20 minutes from where I live on foot. But I will be in Szczecin at the Challenger, so I won't be able to watch it. Yeah, Chinese Taipei is playing Norway, and they will host it. Oh, yeah, I also knew that because not Chinese Taipei, Hong Kong, I was supposed to check. Not Chinese Taipei. What am I doing? I did actually know that Chinese Taipei was playing Norway because Budkov Kier skipped. What was it? He skipped the U.S. Open qualifying, and he said that it was because of that or something like that. Didn't make sense. Anyway, Hong Kong is playing Uzbekistan, and they are hosting Uzbekistan. And is Coleman on the roster? Yeah, he is. So the next tournament for Coleman will definitely be the Davis Cup against Uzbekistan. Coleman doesn't really have partners, to be fair, in his Davis Cup team. So I think it might be difficult. Although, could he carry them to a win? I mean, he probably beats Sultanov and Fomin in singles. And then in doubles, can he carry like a pretty random Hong Kong player to a win against Uzbekistan? I think he might. Like, there's a legit chance that Coleman Wong just wins that entire tie for Hong Kong. That would be fun. Anyway, Alcaraz serving at 2-1. I mean, I don't know about the pressure. That's probably still on Alcaraz, the favorite. But the longer we're watching this match, we're kind of just like, will Lehecka be able to do something? Will Lehecka be able to step up? Because Carlos has clearly delivered so far. Maybe we'll get some of these, the fluctuations that Carlos tends to fall into. We'll see. That could have been a pretty crazy forehand angle. There would have been a degree of luck in it too, but Alcaraz has actually missed it. So it's 15-all now. Time isn't running out yet for Lehecka, but, going down 2-0 here would not be perfect. That's for sure. That would probably kill his chances of winning the match. I mean, you would assume at least. Alcaraz still has that incredible 5-set record, 14-1. Only lost to Matteo Berrettini at the Australian Open in the year 2022, I think that would have been. That's a sensational first volley. That is touch sent from heaven. But obviously we know that he can do that. 40-15. It's a good serve, but the return from Lehecka, actually, here the reaction was pretty wild. Alcaraz had no idea what to do as this sliced return was coming back with so much pace on it. I don't think Lehecka meant it. I mean, Lehecka was just reacting to a big serve. He leaped and then he saw that the return is amazing. But fair enough. 40-30 only. Can Alcaraz close out the game pain-free? Speaking of pain-free, I think there was a medical timeout as well, right? That he had earlier this week. Doesn't seem to be bothering him. So I guess he was okay, as he said after the match. And it is 6-4, 3-1 after another good serve. I mean, so far as clean as it gets, and he's 50% into the win. Let me see. WATCHALONG, yeah, WATCHALONG is good. I like that. 2 excellent wins in qualifying for the King. Maxime Jonvier, I think you mean, right? Yeah, it was a tough one, Keen, because 6 challenger events. I mean, I have no idea who you meant, but I think you mean Maxime Jonvier when he's going to play Marc Layal, and I know who you're going to be rooting for, and you also know who I'm going to be rooting for. But a fun match. I mean, toys consisting of a light frame with thin material stretched over it, flown in the wind at the end of a long string. I think that's already been invented by somebody else. So maybe it's good that the mother intervened. Okay. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this. I like the two Wongs part, but going from right to kite, maybe it's a bit too much. But I appreciate the effort. Not bad, not bad. I was thinking, I mean, the story was so insane, and you were describing a kite in so many words that I was thinking it must be some sort of a joke that I don't understand. But then I reached the end of the comment. They have high hopes for Olaf right now or ever. I don't know. No, not really. It would be good if he could like establish himself in challengers. Probably that's all. But yeah, we'll see. Still hasn't had like the easiest run, I suppose. Last year, that nasal septum in surgery was supposed to really help him breathe much better on the court. Would have expected a little bit more progress this season, but it's been progress nonetheless. Ooh, that's a great read from Alcaraz here at 15-0. Fully on the run, backhand pass down the line. 15-30 now. Let's see if Lehecka can get himself out of this one. Oh, it's King Kenny, right? Yeah. I mean, you see how many of these players are, but it's actually the same event, no? Because you also said great wins. I mean, sure, he was really struggling against Moroni today. I don't know. I don't remember who King Kenny plays tomorrow though. Lehecka throwing in the drop shot, and Carlos is gonna punish him for the fact that it was not a good one. And that's going to be breakpoint to go double break down. I guess, I mean, double break up for Carlos. Oh, King Kenny is playing Koulibaly. He can definitely win that. Anyway, there was also the situation like that in the first set, right? He was love to down then. He saved the breakpoint not to go double break down. Let's see if this time he can also make it work. It's a baseline rally. I think last time Carlos missed an inside in when this exact situation was happening. He's on the move, but defending well, and he had the chance to take over, but nets a forehand down the line. So Lehecka once more saves that key break point that kind of would have ended the set. And a good net approach here. So indeed, the story is kind of repeating itself. A lot of the seating in Dublin is unrestricted for the Davis Cup, or do you think the best view is in general? I mean, typically just behind the players. You want to be behind the players, much better angle. Not as high as on TV, that's for sure, but just enough to kind of be almost within almost court level, and to be able to see every single like shot in its full beauty, with the spin, with the movement as well of the players. I think behind the players is 100% the best. And if you're sitting on the sides, I believe it's in the corners. You don't want to be sitting in the middle, because then you're just doing the tennis. And I mean, if you do it for long enough, you actually might have issues with your neck, which I did once at a tennis tournament, have serious neck pain. But then I learned how to avoid that. Yeah, Nurlan changing his football team. I mean, I don't think you can say that after Grimsby Town and a 97th minute penalty on the weekend. City, though, obviously have also disappointed against, what was it, Brighton? Brighton, I think, yeah. I don't know if Nurlan changed his football team, but he did say that Jessica Pegula was unquestionably the main favorite for the US Open. I wonder who unquestionably is the main favorite according to Nurlan for the men's singles US Open. as that could be. I don't know. I mean, for Nurland, that could literally be like Alex de Minaur. I wouldn't be surprised. Is Isak finalized already? Because if he is, then they kind of are, yeah. I mean, I don't even think they need the guy, you know. They have Akitika already, but they're just gonna buy him so that the other teams don't have him. Apart from Pellegrino doubles, was the most obvious tanking you've seen live? I don't think I've seen anything close to that before or after. I mean, typically just there's no tanking really to that extent, you know. Players can get frustrated, sure, and just kind of throw away the match maybe sometimes, but to that extent where like it's really unclear why you're even on the court, I don't think I've ever seen that. Okay, can Carlos find the twinner lob? Oh, not a bad effort. So Lehecka again starts with a lob 15. I feel like that's maybe 5 or 4 games already on the Alcaraz serve that he has started lob 15. And not much has come out of that, that's for sure. Good drop shot from him here. Definitely Carlos didn't expect it. And even though he's pretty fast, he was on the back foot. Is this the game where Lehecka makes some impact? Maybe. I mean, I love the inventiveness here from Alcaraz on the +1 shot. The slice approach down the line felt like it was pretty well disguised. But then I'm not sure what happened on the next volley. Did Lehecka just play that out of his reach, or did Alcaraz have it on the racket and just messed up? We're not getting a replay of that, unfortunately. Anyway, it is lob 30. I think that's a situation we have not seen before. So the clearest opportunity that Lehecka has had to look for at least creating a breakpoint first time in this match. And a second serve coming up as well. The ball is in the photographer's nest. Such a deep second serve. I mean, Alcaraz really went for it. You can see Lehecka as well, just completely baffled by that. He was trying to like almost saber his way into this one. He was like on the run and trying to approach the net right away, but because it's so deep, there's just no way for him to like find the right timing on it. 15-30. It's a good serve, but it is pretty middle of the service box. Lehecka has a chance to strike back in this rally. Alcaraz so far handling his pace pretty well. But the point continues. The slice through Lehecka's forehand from Alcaraz. Usually that doesn't really give him much. And on this occasion, neither. But what a crazy point it is in the end. Alcaraz is the one to approach the net, despite Lehecka earlier having the intention. And I mean, even if the ball was a little out of reach for him, he stretches for it and finds a pretty ridiculous stop volley. Yeah. I mean, that's just a highlight reel shot for sure. Might be pretty important too. I mean, if Lehecka doesn't get to a breakpoint here, it is 30-all already. And yeah, Carlos asking for some applause. I said earlier that there was a shot where it was clear from his reaction that he was like, oh yeah, that was a good one. I think even more clear on this. +1 forehand right on the line as well. So 40-30. That is brutal for Lehecka not to get a breakpoint here, at least thus far. Did so well on the previous point. We didn't get any like shot counter, but it was a really long exchange. I guess in the end he was the one to leak a short ball though. And at least gave Alcaraz a chance to come up with this magical volley, but won't be able to block this second serve return back in play. So 6-4-4-2. And even though he's had a number of lob 15s and now one lob 30, Lehecka still unable to create a breakpoint on the Alcaraz serve. No, I think Ekitika will be playing. I mean, I don't know if like just rotation or something, but he's too good for that. He won't be on the bench. Not fully, at least. They'll have to like find him something there. I'm not saying a full-on starter, but maybe they'll be just rotating a lot. Oh, definitely no one supported City before the Ayatura. You have given up on Molekar? Yeah, I mean, Rudy is just one of these players like Ajdukovic, right? Where it's always there for them. If they get on a roll for a few months, if they kind of forget about their mental frailties and they just play insane tennis for a few months, they can always get into the top 100. I mean, they literally always have that option. If I dare say something about Molekar here, struggling for 3 sets with David Poliak today, not the best sign. That's a fun point. Eventually, Alcaraz kind of creates this angle for Lehecka, which is a risky game. Jiri had that down the line backhand angle, but I mean, he would have been like, he basically almost had to go around the net, and he hits the post, I think, or close to the post. 9 shots or more, 10-4 in the rallies for Alcaraz. It's probably still not the most significant start of the match. I mean, there's a lot more shorter points, right? But kind of shows you what the patterns are if the point goes longer and if Lehecka can't get on top of it. Slice clips the net from Alcaraz, and the approach through the middle of the court will not be good enough from Lehecka. This is getting tricky for him again. Love 30 after not converting the love 30 himself in the previous game. Let's see if Alcaraz does a better job of it. I mean, I don't actually hate the fact that he went middle here. Maybe that there just should have been a bit more on it. But, you know, it's a split-second decision, whatever. 6 winners from Alcaraz this set to Lehecka's 1. I'm sure there's a lot of forced errors, though, including this serve. I did not know that Charlie Berlocq is the only player at tour level to win Love and Love, then lose. No, I did not know that. Nurlan, what is the way in which Keen is not getting his act together? Because as far as I see, I don't think he's responded to you in any way. So what is he frustrating you with? Is it because of his Celtic affiliates? I don't know. Maybe you hate Celtic. Maybe Nurlan's a Rangers fan now. Another pretty long point. Carlos getting so much topspin on that forehand down the line, and Jiri will miss-hit the backhand, which he was clearly just trying to go massive with. So 2 breakpoints for Alcaraz to go up a double break. He already had a chance earlier this set. Let's see if this time he can convert. It's a pretty brutal, depressing match so far from Lehecka's perspective, for sure. I mean, the chance last game, he needed to be a lot more clinical with it, but otherwise he's just really not getting much play. And these slow starts have killed him, right? Just the fact that early break in both sets, then can't recover from it. But a great serve and volley here. Just one more break point. Maybe he can just keep it, you know, within touching distance and still create something in this second set. Just don't know what his chances of winning from 0 to down in sets would be. Second serve, breakpoint down, and it's into the net. He was clearly trying to risk go serve and volley again. I don't hate it, I suppose, but Alcaraz will serve for a 2-set to love lead, and Lehecka will have a lot to think about during this changeover. Did you get the response to the German tennis question? I don't know if I saw that. How does this quarterfinal lineup look compared to the other majors? What do you mean, like in terms of excitement? I think it's kind of irrelevant what the other 6 players are. It's still Alcaraz and Sinner that are most likely. Alcaraz at least has that Fritz Djokovic match, and I think Fritz Djokovic, that is a quarterfinal that's probably exciting to people. I mean, I don't like the patterns in that matchup at all. If I am awake for like the last 2 sets of it, I'll probably watch it. Does it excite me? Again, yeah, I just don't like the matchup too much. Just so much, high margin cross court hitting with not much variety from one player, especially. I don't know. And the other just wants to play it like that. Well, maybe right now he doesn't want to play it like that because we'll see how his stamina is and everything. But yeah, I mean, I think this year, since Roland Garros, it's kind of been like, where is Djokovic? Is he in the Alcaraz or Sinner half? At Wimbledon, at Roland Garros, he was. Here he's in the Alcaraz half. So now you're thinking, well, can he get there? And if he can get there, that match will be perceived as the more interesting semi. But we're still kind of just watching a massive build-up to a potential Alcaraz-Sinner final. And, we're in the quarterfinals already. Alcaraz is probably about to go 2 sets to love up on Lehecka. Sinner is a machine. Sinner doesn't have a worthy opponent in the quarters and semis, probably. Of course, things can happen, but I think both Felix and Alex, he dominates a lot in just the matchup. And then Musetti is more interesting. We haven't seen them play in a while, but I think on hard courts, it's difficult for Lorenzo. It's difficult to see a way to a win for Lorenzo. If it was a clay court match, like if they played at Rome or Roland Garros this year, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea who my winner pick would have been. Depending on obviously the tournaments. I mean, Rome, I maybe would have favored Musetti because Yannick was just coming back. I don't know. Here, it's tough to see a way to a Musetti win. So the entire quarterfinal lineup kind of suffers from that in my book. Lehecka Alcaraz could have been interesting. So far, it's not. I mean, so far, Carlos is just, pretty much as much of a machine as Sinner has been, and that's been the case the entire tournament, right? That Alcaraz is thus far so focused, doesn't have any fluctuations of level, doesn't have any like moments where he lets his opponent, get a play on something, like not really. And Lehecka is not stepping up to the challenge either. So 2 set points for Alcaraz here for a 2-set to love lead. And again, the worst thing that possibly could happen to Lehecka next set is getting broken in the first game. And that happened to him in the first and second set. Let's see. But anyway, 40-15, still not the set, obviously. Still has to clinch it. But in terms of your question about quarterfinal lineups, it's just a big build-up to Alcaraz Sinner, likely. So is that a second service? I think it is. So 6-4, 6-2 Alcaraz. So far, very comfortable. Due is a lot more talented than Rudy, I think. I would agree, but there's a lot of people around the tennis world that would tell you otherwise. I think Molleker, when he was coming up, when he won that challenger at 17, and you can look back at the Heilbronn run he had, I mean, that's just insane names. He won like 4 matches in 3 sets and was Vesely at the time, such an amazing player. I don't remember the others, but the names he beat there when he was 17 in Heilbronn, that was insane. I think he has this aura that people still think of him as that kid. And that kid obviously also got to 140 2 years later, made 2 slams maybe from qualies, I think Australia and Roland Garros 2019. I think a lot of people still think of Molleker in these terms. I think Ajdukovic is better though. Yeah, I would agree with you. But even recently, I talked to a player about Molekar, and he was just like, how is that guy not in the top 100? I mean, he's just insane. And I think there's a lot of people who remember the runs that Molekar had as a kid, and they just kind of still think of him in these categories. And I can't deny that. Yeah, I mean, he just looked like he looked absurd. I was thinking about it the other day, but right now we have some prospects that we are pretty sure about, right? And then maybe some of them end up like that. I mean, we can never really know. He seemed like so much of a sure thing. Cleve Harper, I've heard from doubles fans, there are people who actually believe that he's going to be insane in doubles or something. I don't know. I'm not a doubles expert. I don't think he's terrible, but definitely not one of the players I think of right now when I look at the Challenger Tour and think who's potentially going to have an amazing career. But again, I'm really not a doubles expert, so. I mean, American tournament director, if you're saying this, then that would obviously be James Blake, right? And then he beat one of our favorite American players ever. That's a tougher one because I'm not sure what our favorites means. Do me and Keen have an American player that we both really enjoy? I hope it's not Tennis Sandgren. I don't know. But American tournament director has to be. No, maybe it's not Blake. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who the American guy is, to be fair. But James Blake seems pretty obvious from your message. Hit a few holes in Wong. I would probably say Fritz is the favorite today against Novak. I think Taylor played Novak 11 times, and every single attempt he tried to do exactly the same. He didn't change his game in any way. But I think today it might be the method. It's so reliant on him also, just stepping up to the plate, though. But it could be that, because there's the famous saying that if you're trying to do something multiple times the same way and you expect different results, that it's madness. I think today the madness might actually work. There's something in that today. But I don't know. Maybe it's just another slam where Novak reaches the semis and loses to Alcaraz or Sinner or Zverev in Australia, but that was a retirement. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if Taylor is going to ever beat Novak, it's today. Ferdiol here, big moment for Lehecka especially. I mean, just has to start one of these sets from a hold, right? Yeah, has Alcaraz on the stretch here. Forehand error into the net. Just gotta do it. And he does. I mean, this is good. This is finally giving Lehecka some hope, because if he falls back, if he falls behind again, I mean, I just don't know. Yeah. Marouane Fellaini was better than Keane, apparently. Sure. Once Shelton went out, it seemed any upsets were unlikely to me. Shelton and also Bublik disappointing so much last night, right? That was kind of the main thing, I think. But yeah, Shelton, I think he would have had a shot at Alcaraz here. Maybe not with how focused Carlos looks, but the typical version of hardcourt Alcaraz that we know, Shelton really should at least come close at the US Open. I know he didn't when they played at Roland Garros, but the surface doesn't really. Well, okay, he won a set, but there the surface really doesn't suit him. And then Sinner, he obviously played at Wimbledon, Australia. It wasn't close, but also a tougher matchup for him with the serve return game, and kind of just like Yannick doesn't give you anything. So Ben basically loses, I don't know, 10 points on serve on the way to the tiebreak. Yannick loses 2, and then you see it in the tiebreak. That's like how it usually happens, right? That's very clean as well from Carlos on the forehand winner. That +1. This could have been love 30, but it is 15 all now. Men's singles snooze. I don't disagree. Like, to be fair, I wasn't sure if to do this stream. I'm kind of doing it more as a, let's keep it going on the channel. Let's do some content because, yeah, I mean, I'm really uninterested presently in the men's singles event until the final. What? I mean, that's the kind of shot where, like, if you're Lehecka, you just know that your day isn't going well. Because he should totally be winning this point. This is a great return. And then Alcaraz plays some lucky-ish drop shot on the stretch, and it just lands perfectly. You're not going to tell me that he meant it. I mean, no. Well, highlight reel shot for sure, but I don't think he fully meant it. And then ace out wide now. Yeah, seems like another hold coming in for Carlos. Still hasn't faced a breakpoint today. By the way, that was like an hour ago, but the producer said in chat 13 sets won in a row. It's actually a lot more than that, right? Because of Cincinnati. Anyway. Oh, okay. So I guess you mean, Keen, that it's that's Donald Young. Okay. What do you mean? I don't hate you, Ghosty. What do you mean? I'm responding to everything. Yeah, I mean, if you want to see Mario, then you have to root for Jiri Lehecka now. I think we're all rooting for Jiri to at least show something here, I don't know if I care if it's 4 or 3 sets, but I don't know. Just get to a tie break, maybe break Carlos, or keep it interesting for a moment. Is smoking weed allowed in Poland? Actually, I believe that in Poland the rule is that you can smoke weed, but you cannot possess it. So yeah, weed is illegal, but I think there are rules against possession rather than actually smoking. Like, I don't think you can get in trouble for smoking, but well, if you're smoking, you probably are in possession too, right? But yeah, I mean, it's not legal in Poland. You cannot buy weed on in like actual shops. No. It's all. But it is very common. Like, it's really not tough to get access to weed. Other drugs, you probably have to know somebody, but like weed is very, very common. Personally, I'm not an enjoyer, but is it legal? No. Can I do Igamanda tomorrow? Same time, right? Theoretically, I guess I can. I'd maybe like to see the full schedule first, because there might be a men's doubles match around that time that I really want to watch or something. But theoretically, I probably can. We'll follow up later, but it's possible. Taking melatonin is legal. Well, I don't know if illegal, but it is certainly risky, as it turns out. I think the melatonin could have come from any country, probably, but it did come from a Polish source, I think. Everyone complaining about weed smell. I mean, I think that's the smell of cigarettes is 100 times worse. Wow, backhand smash from Lehecka to go 40-30 here. Easily could have been a break point, but he does it very, very well. Keeps himself in this. Yeah, I was just gonna say that the smell of cigarettes is so much worse and so much more common on the streets that I think first of all we should outlaw cigarettes and then we can think about weed. Great volley as well from Lehecka here. The return from Alcaraz was deeping low over the net. Really had to come up with something, and yeah, great game from him in total to keep himself ahead on the scoreboard in the third set. But yeah, cigarettes piss me off. I mean, especially when I'm running, it's like anytime I see a person with a cigarette, I'm just thinking, how can I not, even for a second, smell it? And even when I hold my breath or cover my mouth or something like that, still, when I stop 5 seconds later, I still have that small sensation of getting that that cigarette, smell. I think cigarettes should be outlawed. Yeah. It's like if they were selling you cancer in shops, would you buy it? I mean, no, but they're selling you cancer in a different form and you're buying it. I don't know. I guess you could probably say alcohol is the same. And I would agree, even if I guess I don't follow the same rules. Does anyone on the Talking Tennis team smoke cigarettes? I don't know. The people I met, not really, but I also met like 3 to 5 people probably. Has the Polish CEO been a big story in the media? I think it's a much bigger story in the tennis community than in media in general. But I also have said it before. I just don't follow media at all. So it could be a big story in Polish media or something like that, and I'm just not gonna have any access to it. I don't see any Polish media. I don't have a TV. I don't read newspapers. I don't check like websites of news outlets in Poland. The only news I get is tennis. So I don't know. In the tennis community, yes. And of course, keen by the Polish CEO, he means that Kamil Majchrzak, fan thing where the guy stole the cup from a kid and then wrote an apology, which has a very weird explanation in my book. But anyway, who cares? Yeah, he stole a cup from a child. I mean, the guy just honestly, his apology to me is not an explanation, a feasible explanation. Like he said that he thought that was for him. Like he literally took that out of the child's hand, like and then put it in his backpack quickly. It also happened coincidentally that at the very same time Kamil's head was turned, right? So he didn't see that. I don't know. Like to me, I just did not buy it whatsoever. I think he literally did that because he's a vile person. But the kid didn't actually end up losing much in the process. In fact, you could argue that he gained something because he met Kamil the other day and probably got even more gear than he would have there. So all's well that ends well. But yeah, I think the guy is just very questionable morally. No, actually, the more aggressive statement about suing, that was not, at least according to him, was not written by him. There were a lot of fake statements on the internet. And according to his apology, the other statement was not coming from him. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea if it's actually true because I wasn't really like following it to that point. Does Kamil's brother look talented when you watched him play? Yeah, to an extent, sure. They have a lot of similar motions, movements, the way they set up for a slice, the backhand shovel. I mean, a lot of the quirkiness of Mike Schreck's game is also in Adam. He seems to be developing. I mean, I have no idea what the cap is, but yeah, he's not that bad. Yeah, I agree absolutely. I think that well, I always absolutely hated the idea of myself being in a 9 to 5 type of job. In Poland, it's very rarely 9 to 5. It's like 7 to 3 most of the time, maybe 8 to 4. 9 to 5 is very infrequent here, but obviously that's just question of hours. It's still 8 hours, and I always hated the idea of potentially doing something like that. Thankfully, for now, I've been able to avoid it. But I think what you said is kind of the worst part. Yeah, the fact that with all its kind of like it takes up even more time, and it kind of just like grounds you. So far, I've spent my whole life trying to avoid a 9 to 5 job. To this point, I'm successful at that, which I actually consider my biggest success in life thus far. But I don't know. It might not keep working out like that. But it's not like there aren't pluses and minuses to every single potential working environment and working format. I see a lot of issues with mine as well, just how you're kind of always at work. But there are obviously many benefits too with the flexible, much more flexible, at least hours. 15 all, 2 all, and Alcaraz plays a wonderful combination here, spots that opportunity to advance in the court. Beautiful stab volley as well. 15-30, once more Lehecka under pressure. Jiri at the net. Slice approach. I don't think Carlos will find it. Yeah, there wasn't much of an angle there. I mean, if he was going for the court there, then Lehecka would have just been able to cut it, I think. Cut it off easily. So 30 all. This set so far has definitely felt like Lehecka is just, fighting to stay afloat. But if he does that enough times, considering he is obviously the one starting it, I mean, maybe. That should not be the best approach, but Carlos will miss the lob, okay? I guess he was a bit pressed for time. But you can see he's disappointed about this. Feels like that should have been a breakpoint coming his way. It was a bit of a kamikaze approach from Lehecka, who's actually 9 out of 9 on net points this set. Funnily enough. And will he play another one here? Well, sorta. He was getting to the net. I don't think it will count as a net approach. The angle on his backhand crosscourt was just good enough for Alcaraz to force an error from Alcaraz anyway. So yeah, 3-2 Lehecka. He stays ahead. Expand productive forces and free workers. Fair enough. I don't think they mentioned that part of his writing indeed. Have I finally given up on the pineapple? I mean, why would I? He's had a great couple of months. Won a Challenger 100, his second title. He's still obviously a top 100 player at some point in his career. This year will be tricky. Probably not. I mean, I guess we can probably work around it. But yeah, the Anisimov Świątek stream. But I want to see the full schedule first. But probably I can do it. So it's second after Felix, Alex. Yeah, that could be a bit of a long one. We'll see. Maybe. It was a historic moment for Ivory Coast, but maybe there will be more historic moments for other countries as well. Skin a real person? As far as I know, yes. I haven't met him. I've seen photos of him. I've seen maybe even... Did I see a video of him playing tennis? I think I did. So, as far as I know. Anyway, Alcaraz serving at 2-3, still yet to face a breakpoint today. Oh, that was in as well. Okay, I thought that serve was long. So 40 love. This is looking like a pretty quick hold for Carlos now again. We'll throw in the forehand drop shot and read exactly what Lehecka is going to do with it. So yeah, indeed, it's a love hold, 3 games all, and the pressure. The ball is back in Lehecka's court. But yeah, the big hope for the Czech here is to keep holding and hopefully find that first crack. It's so unusual for Alcaraz to play like 15 sets and barely ever show any signs of weakness, but I suppose that's what we're getting so far at this event, especially today, right? I mean, it's like if you want to look for some errors from Carlos, you have to look at individual specific shots. And the net balance is like still overwhelmingly positive. This is a canon forehand winner as well. But on the deuce side, out wide so far, Lehecka has a great rhythm this game, finding 2 almost unreturnable serves. Yeah, I mean, off the ground, longer exchange, Carlos is really outplaying Jiri right now fairly comfortably, so maybe the Czech will need to find another big serve or go to the net. I think later in the second, we saw that for a moment that he was just like pretty desperately rushing the net at that point. I suppose he's been this set too, but he's also been perfect at the net so far, I think. that serve isn't placed too well. What can Alcaraz do with it? Plays a drop shot from a position where I think nobody else plays a drop shot. Lehecka just smacks the ball cross court. It was pretty short, and he goes straight at Carlos, who just plays like a ridiculous half volley pickup. Yeah, I mean, that's another one of these shots where if you're Lehecka, you just kind of know it's not your day, because there's little control there from the Spaniard, and yet he makes it, and yet he plays basically the most perfect shot you could imagine there. So breakpoint, but a great serve from Lehecka to save it. And maybe once more he will get himself out of trouble. It really feels like he is, just trying so hard to stay afloat in this set, but he's making it work. And I think that's another good one. Or is it a let? Oh, it's a let. That's unfortunate. Great second serve return from Alcaraz. Throws in the slice approach. Stop volley there. What an exchange at the net. And I think Lehecka eventually finds Carlos's chest there. Both guys laughing about it. But yeah, 4-3 Lehecka. And it's kind of like the entire set. He is struggling. He is barely holding, but he is doing it. And, as long as he can keep doing that. 4-3, so we're really entering the decisive stages of the third set. Let's see if that changes anything in that very focused Carlos performance thus far. Do I think Fergus has real problems with growing a beard, or is it just his choice? I have no idea, but Fergus is also considerably younger than me. Plus, it's genetics. Some people grow a beard very easily. I think. Well, while I'm not the I'm not the most. I don't know how to even put it, but let's say I wasn't the youngest person that I know to have a full beard. Like, I definitely wasn't, a freak or anything like that in that sense. But it's also like, face. Well, hair grows everywhere for me, so it's just genetics, really. But I also wouldn't say real problems. Like, why would you? I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I look at it because it's so easy for me. But like, a beard is just, I don't know. It's like having longer or shorter hair. It's not something beneficial or not. I wouldn't say he has problems. I think he's just he exists, and if some hair grows on his face, then he will be forced to take a decision what to do with it, whether to leave it alone or cut it. I think that's normal. Um, 162. Okay, so I know it wasn't a checkout. Yeah, I haven't played in, I don't know, like 2 years, probably more than a few throws. I did hit a few 180s, but it wasn't regular. Ryan Harrison is an analyst for Sky Ireland and UK. Why not? And what is more likely, Agui reaching top 100 or Zverev winning a slam? It's Zverev winning a slam. I mean, it's not impossible for Mike to do it, but how exactly is his career going to accelerate from here when it's still like this random half-assed pro attempt, really. It's not going to be that likely in the current state of things. For the love, Alcaraz, looks like the pattern continues. I mean, the entire set has been very similar. Lehecka in different, like varying degrees of trouble on serve, and Carlos is just smashing away. But, let's say Lehecka holds now, and then Alcaraz has to serve to stay in the set. Could that provide enough of a change-up? I suppose it could. For all, is this one of the most important games of the match? I mean, certainly could be. If Lehecka loses it. If he wins it, maybe. Depending on if we would actually see Alcaraz crumbling a little bit in the next game or not. I think that, that high spin forehand is going to be long this time from Carlos. That's a super deep return, but I don't think he converts that. Yeah, maybe Lehecka will get a bit of a free hand here. Was trying to go so precise on that forehand cross court and has missed that. Lehecka at the net, and he's gonna dump the volley into the middle of it. That's a bit of a bad miss, and I think maybe the first point he's lost at the net this set, or close to the first. I mean, to be fair, Alcaraz Lehecka in Queens this year, it looked somewhat similar to this third set, right? So Alcaraz was holding so easily, Lehecka was constantly in trouble, but then Jiri won the tiebreak. Of course, Carlos won the third, but it definitely didn't feel like a match where, it should have gone free, but it did. Anyway, 30 all, so maybe the hold won't be that easy after all. Just that pressure is like mounting up with game after game. So far, he's responded. Let's see what happens here. 50% points won on the second serve this set. Alcaraz at 83, but to be fair, it's a small sample for either player. It's a good return, and Lehecka trying to take this early will miss it. So once more, a break point. I mean, the set just carbon copy of every single couple of games, right? I mean, every single couple of games is basically a carbon copy of the previous. And Lehecka is on top of the net, should put this away. Alcaraz makes him play a pretty tough smash, and the rally goes back to neutral. This could be a game over if Alcaraz wins this point. And Lehecka tries to take another forehand very early, go to the net the second time of the rally. But Alcaraz wins the point, and he will serve for the match. Massive reaction from him as well. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? The pressure was on Lehecka the entire set. Almost every single hold was bothersome. And now the pressure has finally, made him crack a little, I suppose. Weird point because it was quite unreal. Lehecka had a foothold on it. He basically had it closed down, but then Alcaraz makes him play that lob, which, I mean, the smash wasn't that easy. And Carlos somehow gets back into the point, finally winning it. and will serve for it with not a single breakpoint faced so far. Now, is it going to get trickier because of that? Is it going to get trickier simply because he has the opportunity to close out the match? We will have to see. Does Lehecka have any more fight left in him here? The opponents can sometimes just like hang around and wait for Carlos's level to dip. Today, Lehecka hasn't been given that opportunity, and Carlos Alcaraz is serving for a match now. And again, this is one of these shots where like Lehecka did most right in this rally, right? And Carlos just comes up with some stupid magic while probably not even intending to. It's like the third or fourth time I've said something like that today. But yeah, again, like how do you play that shot? I don't think even he wanted to do it. Three match points. Second serve. He's been winning over 70% of his second serve points, I think, and really should be able to get this done. Obviously, does it with a cannon forehand as well, as Jiri Lehecka plays one of these like second serve returns with a block that he's played a few times in this match. I don't think they worked out most of the time. Carlos, because it's 3 match points, just slams the forehand for a winner. And yeah, 6-4, 6-2, 6-4. What else can you say? Getting into a slam semi-final without dropping a set, is that a first for Carlos? I'd have to go back and check, but it very well could be. It's certainly a big contrast to what he's done this year at Wimbledon and Roland Garros, right? Where he was like leaking sets left and right. And typically we're just more used to Carlos being just a little less focused, less disciplined version of his game. And this tournament so far, he's just simmering, right? He's just been pretty absurd with how much of a machine he's been. I know that this is maybe a pretty easy draw for him in general so far, but Opelka round 1 and today, very dangerous opponents. We wouldn't expect him to drop sets against like Rinderknecht, Bellucci, Darderi, probably not, but against Opelka round 1, like that's a deadly draw. Against Lehecka here in the quarters, I think that a 4-set match was the expectation probably. But yeah, Lehecka falling behind that early break in the first 2 sets definitely didn't help, because it just never felt like he can just hang around and wait for Alcaraz's level to drop. Sometimes he was doing a better job at hanging around, sometimes worse. But there was no like silver lining. There was no potential dip that you can look forward to, which is something that the opponents very often have against Alcaraz, right? They're just thinking, okay, if I keep him on the court long enough, there's going to be a 15-minute patch where he's just, I don't know, wild. And not today at all. The third set, I guess, was the best from Lehecka, because at least he was holding. He kept himself on the scoreboard, even though he was under pressure almost every game. But it was still a very, very strong performance. I just don't think it was a match that at any point felt close whatsoever. Yeah, Sean is very right. I mean, that we are not used to this straights at Alcaraz, but he's doing it right now. And before we head back, before we close out the stream, I will obviously also get to your comments now. Can I assume that you prefer watching Alcaraz over Sinner, but appreciate Sinner as a player too? I mean, it would be impossible to not appreciate. It would be impossible to not appreciate Yannick as a player, as a person, I guess as well. But I don't necessarily like watching him too much. Yeah, I think Alcaraz is the most fun of the top players because he is wild, right? Because he is more unconventional, because he has every shot in the book, because he has so much fun on the court, and because he kind of also pushes that fun onto you. He goes for the special shot sometimes instead of the correct one, right? And even though today, like for example, even though this was a clean win for him and there was never like any doubt as to who was going to come out as the winner, who was the better player and everything, you could still see that fun, right? He still had that enthusiasm. He still had a number of magical shots. I think if I'm watching a Sinner Lehecka match and it's different, like it's exactly the same match, I think it's much more boring to watch. At least for me, Playstyles, obviously, they're very subjective in terms of like what you enjoy. But yeah, I think Alcaraz is the most interesting top player to watch right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how high would you rate the average highlights I asked you to check out on replay or Challenger TV? Depends. I mean, sometimes there's something insane. Let's just say 6. Typically, like I know what you are going for. Yeah, 6 is fine, I think. I don't know if I ever watched Matej Vocer in singles. I don't think he ever had a singles career. I mean, in college, probably. I imagine he played singles at least a bit, but no idea. Yeah, Topo definitely can get back on the train. I mean, he's not quite as good, but he still should be doing better than he is right now. Goffin loss. Oh yeah, Miami. Yeah, I guess Carlos is trying to reach his like 8th final in a row or something like that. And since then, he's only been losing to, well, I mean, he's only lost once. Is that true? Wait, what? He's only lost once since? He won Monte Carlo. He won Rome. Oh, he lost to Rune in the Barcelona final as well. Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, Rune and Sinner, he's only lost to in the last 8 events he's played. Yeah. Jesus. I mean, I just don't think anything is improvable in his game. I don't see what exactly like is the room to grow. I think he's just gonna be exactly the same as he is right now for most of his career. He also has a one-hander. I mean, if you want me to say switch to a two-hander, I think it might be a bit too late. The lower top 10 is just not reliable enough nor competitive if they get to the round 4 quarters and meet Yannick Carlos. I don't know if they're not reliable enough. I think they're pretty reliable in how they look against these guys. I just don't think they're good enough to compete. It's pretty rare to have like this kind of a spread. Who is Sergio Garcia? I mean, they were showing this guy a lot, but I have no idea who he is. You can ask for sure. Alcaraz on world number 1 possibility. Okay. Yeah, I mean there is a like very direct battle, right? Basically Alcaraz has to do better than, or Yannick has to do better than Carlos to retain number 1. When Sinner first came on tour, people continued to talk about the easy power he had, right? And what point did he kind of turn to efficiency? I can't remember that moment at all. It's 100% that, yeah. I mean, Sinner, when he came onto the tour, everybody was talking about how he accelerates through the ball of both wings, but especially of the forehand, I guess, despite having that kind of a very lanky physique, I suppose. Like, you wouldn't have guessed it based on how his arms looked, for example, but the pace he was getting on the ball, it was insane. And he was a lot more risky as a player, yes. When did he turn to efficiency? I think it's Cahill and Vanozzi, like that kind of work, right? Maybe 2022 and onwards, 2023 especially. he did become a very different player. Yeah, I think slightly from my point of view, at least, slightly less appealing to watch, but definitely the right thing to do for his career, as right now he's almost unbeatable. How did Jack Sock win a Masters 1000? I mean, he was pretty insane towards the end of the year 2017. Check out his ATP Finals performances. He kept it up. And Paris 1000 in 2017 was also weak. I mean, he played Julien Benneteau in the semis, who was having a miracle farewell run. Filip Krajinovic in the final. But yeah, he kept it up. ATP Finals, he was incredible. What area of Poland is known for having the largest ultra-nationalist population? It's tough to say. I would say probably southeast. Typically, east and south is where you have the more traditional conservative crowd, and then west and north is where you're going to have more, liberals, I suppose you can call that. It goes with the lines of you can also look at the Vistula. So right bank would be the more traditional. Left bank would be the, I don't know, let's say fresher mindset. And then also you can look at just how the country was split when it wasn't on the map between 1795 and 1918. The part that was under Russia is the more traditional one, and the part that was under, Prussia at the time, I guess, but Germany is the one that is more liberal. But yeah, in terms of the largest, the most nationalistic Catholic crowd, that would be either northeast, so Podlasie, or southeast in Podkarpacie. These are probably the most rural and the most, also some of the poorest, but yeah, some of the most rural, some of the most poorest areas in Poland, and also that is where the most traditionalistic and most conservative crowd live. Who is on the Ala stream? I have no idea, but I'm assuming it could be our CEO. CEO who is hopefully better than the one that stole a cup from the child at Kamil Majkrzak's match. Thank you, Gerald, as well, for watching. Thank you to everybody who watched. I will not be on any other stream today, but it looks like I might be on the Anisimova Świątek one tomorrow. So make sure to tune into anything we pull out on the channel. I mean, you have to give me a list of who you still have hope for, Keen, and then I maybe will tell you who you should still have it. Anyway, who should still have it for. Anyway, Carlos Alcaraz into the semifinals, first men's singles player to do it. He will play either Taylor Fritz or Novak Djokovic. The favorite in either match, but there are question marks. Maybe it will be the first much tougher encounter of the tournament for him. Obviously, with Novak, he's kind of had issues performing against him, and clearly the matchup gets him nervous, at least since Cincinnati 2023. Taylor almost took him to 5 sets at Wimbledon. There is some degree, at least, of interest in these matches, potentially. And they will, of course, play later today. For now, he looks as good, or at least as consistent as ever, Carlos Alcaraz. So, yeah, absolutely. Anyway, thank you to everybody who showed up. Thank you to, I don't know who else I'm thanking, actually. No, I'm just thanking you guys. Or I can thank the producer as well, who made it a bit easier to talk to you guys today here. Thankfully, our quick maneuver with the with resetting my connection worked out fine. And yeah, thank you to everybody once more. And just keep watching Talking Tennis content, and I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.